Liam is an average office worker whose life is borderline pathetic. He works hard and late at his company that works him to his bones, but thankfully, he has a family to return to. Thanks to them, he manages to do his job where his boss constantly insults him and even his subordinates mock him openly. One day, Liam's college junior weeb texts him about a mecha action figure and urges him to buy it. Liam has also been a weeb his entire life, so he goes to the shop location sent by his junior, only to find his wife on a date with another man. He is dumbfounded by this because his wife was supposed to take their daughter to sword class. That night, when he returns, Liam asks his wife and daughter about their day, and they tell him that there was a tournament at the sword class today and the daughter won all her matches. Liam decides to believe them and ignore the fact that he clearly saw his wife earlier today. But he still can't shake the thought away, so he goes to the same spot the next day as well. This time, not only his wife but his daughter is also there, and she calls the strange man her father. Liam is completely shaken by that and can't concentrate on his work, and then his boss comes there to insult him for no reason. Just then, he gets a call from his wife about their daughter being in an accident, and he immediately rushes to the hospital. The doctor tells them that their daughter needs blood, but Liam's blood type is not compatible with her. As his wife leaves to donate blood, Liam does some research on blood types and finds that his daughter's blood type doesn't match the chart. He is now sure that he is not the father, and once they return home, he confronts his wife about it. However, instead of admitting that she cheated on him, the bitch tells him that it is all his fault. She says that he works all the time and doesn't have any time for his family. On top of that, he doesn't even have any money despite working so much. The bitch tells Liam that he is not even really a part of their family, and she was the only one who raised her daughter all these years. She then declares that she is going to leave the house with her daughter, and Liam snaps on hearing this. He tries to stop the daughter, but even she tells him that she likes her other dad better. Liam is completely devastated by this, and the next day, as he goes to office, his boss shows him that a transaction of 50 million yen has been made from his computer. Liam says that he never made such a transfer, but then he remembers that he left his computer unlocked in a hurry when his daughter was in a hospital. However, no one in the office believes him, and they accuse him of stealing money from the company. Because of that, he is fired and his wife gets a reason to file for divorce, but that bitch still demands child support. His company doesn't sue him but forces him to pay all the money back in installments, and Liam has to work as a construction worker to keep paying child support and the installment. However, that doesn't go very well for him either, and he is continuously scolded by his boss. His life becomes a mess, and he enters depression because he has nothing to live for. Even his enthusiasm for action figures and mecha toys fade. But he still believes that everything will work out if he keeps working hard. He misses his daughter even though he knows she is not really his child and hopes to meet her someday. But then he finds that he is seriously ill. With no insurance and no money to get treatment, Liam decides to die in the silence and solitude of his apartment. He keeps waiting for death, and then suddenly, a dazzling light appears above him. The light shows him visions of what happened in the past, and Liam finds that it was his boss who sent the money from his computer to frame him. Not only that, the man his wife was having an affair with was his boss, and he sent the money to the so that she could afford an expensive lifestyle. Liam is completely broken on realizing what was happening behind his back all this time, and he wishes that all of this is a dream, but then a voice tells him that it is the reality. Suddenly, a stylish man who calls himself the Guide emerges from the light and tells Liam that he has lived a really hard and pitiful life despite being a good man. He asks Liam if he can forgive the people who made him suffer like this, and Liam gets enraged, saying that he wants revenge against them. The Guide rejoices on seeing his negative emotions, calling them delicious. He then tells Liam that he took an interest in him because he is a good man, but Liam replies that he doesn't give two shits about being good anymore. He regrets that he got taken advantage of because of his kind nature and swears that if he gets another chance at life, he will live only for himself. He promises that he will even become a villain who tramples on everyone else, and the Guide tells him that he has just the thing for him. He takes out some pictures from a suitcase, telling Liam that he is here to send him to another world, and he can choose where he wants to go. The options include a world with magic and superpowers, the samurai-era Japan, the Wild West, and even the prehistoric times. Liam tries to process if this is real because things like this happen only in anime. However, when he spots a parallel world with giant robots and spaceships, he can't take his eyes off of it. He reaches his hand towards the option, thinking about all the fun discussions about anime he had with his junior. The guide tells him that he made a good choice because this world has both advanced technology and magic. The aristocratic system is still followed in this world, which means nobles are in power, and the guide tells Liam that he will be born as the son of a count who rules a planet. Liam likes the sound of that, and as he reaches the image of the giant robot, he signs a contract with the guide, who sends him off to the next world, wishing that he lives a better life in that one. He gets reincarnated as Liam Banfield, the only son of a count ruling planet Hydra that is run over by plants. On his 5th birthday, Liam's mother tells him that she has a special present for him. She takes him to the room where a giant cake is kept and asks him to open the gift. Liam finds that it is empty, but there is a remote controller inside it, and his mom tells him that his gift is a custom-made AI maid. She tells him to pick the features he wants for the maid using the remote controller, and Liam gets taken aback by the options he has. He asks his mom why does he even need an AI-made robot, and just then, his dad enters the room. He tells Liam that he is going to need the AI maid because he is getting another special birthday present. Liam's dad then suddenly declares that he is gifting him the title of Count Banfield and everything that their family owns. Liam is taken aback by this, but his dad repeats that from today, he is the head of the family and he can run the planet any way he likes. However, his dad has a request in exchange for this gift. He explains that he and his wife are going to retire and live on the Imperial capital planet, and in exchange for ruling this planet, Liam has to send them a monthly allowance. Liam is all in for this deal because it gives him freedom, and his dad calls their butler Brian with a contract. Liam signs the contract and becomes the head of the house, and his parents immediately run away to the capital, telling him that the AI maid will look after him from now on. Liam still has trouble processing that he got power, wealth, and influence at 5 years old in this life, and he swears that this time he will become a villain who will suppress other people and have fun on his own terms. He thanks the guide for this, unaware that the guide never planned to help him. Back on Earth, the guide is with Liam's dead body, mocking his pathetic life. He then decides to have some fun with Liam's cheating wife and his boss, who are having dinner at a fancy restaurant. While the boss tries to act like he feels bad for putting Liam through the misfortunes, the bitch doesn't even bother to pretend. While they are planning for their future, the guide uses his powers and brings the police there. The police officers arrest the boss for stealing money from his company and framing Liam, and the bitch breaks down on realizing that the life she planned to have is out of her reach. The guide takes great pleasure in their suffering, and then he returns to Liam's side to guide his soul in the next world. The truth is that he has arranged for Liam to suffer even more in his next life. The guide knows that when he realizes that he was set up, Liam will direct all his negative emotions towards him, and he will consume those emotions to become even stronger. Not only that, the lifespans in the next world are incredibly long, and the guide hopes that Liam suffers for a long time and keeps providing him nutrition. On the other hand, Liam soon gets his AI-made robot with the highest spec components and all the features selected by him. He is really excited for the unboxing, and butler Brian tells him that he just needs to touch the box to open it. As Liam touches the packaging box, it suddenly vanishes and the AI maid comes to life. She introduces herself as Amagi, and Liam introduces himself too. Brian tells him that the maid robot needs just 2 hours of maintenance each week, but Liam is not listening to him. The little pervert drags Amagi to the playroom with him to check out all her features in detail, and once they return, he is really comfortable around her. Brian freaks out, thinking that his new master is a pervert, but Liam tells him to relax because he has the mind of a 36-year-old adult. Brian tells him that 36-year-olds are still considered children, and Amagi adds that the official age of adulthood in the Empire is 50. However, most people are not considered proper adults till they reach 100, and the average life expectancy is also around 500 years. Liam gets excited thinking about all the things he can do in his long life, but then Brian warns him not to be too close to Amagi. Liam asks him the reason for that, and the butler explains that the Empire hates AI more than anything, because humanity was almost wiped out by AI once. Luckily, a group of brave people stopped AI from completely driving humanity to extinction, and those people founded the Empire, and now they hate AI in any form. Liam is curious about why his mother would give him an AI maid if she knew about this, and Brian tries to keep it a secret from him. However, Liam pulls the "I am the captain now" speech on him and orders him to reveal the truth. Brian nervously tells Liam that his parents abandoned him and ran away because their family is drowning in debt. Liam is shocked to hear this, and Brian explains that his great-grandfather was a great man, but his successors were terrible at ruling the planet. The butler then explains that most of their resources are in the control of the loan sharks, and even the economy of their planet is not good. Liam doesn't understand why his parents would dump all the responsibility of their declining territory on him, and Brian tells him that the only reason they gave birth to him was so that they could dump their responsibilities on him. Liam is pissed because he went through one life of being used and then discarded, and it seems like the same thing is going to happen again. He decides that it will not happen as long as he can do something about it, and tells Amagi that both of them are outcasts for this society, so they should team up. He asks the maid to join him because together they can seize the power to do anything they want, but she refuses and kneels before him. She tells Liam that her only purpose in this world is to serve him, and he doesn't need to ask her to team up with him. She promises to serve him in any way possible, and Liam decides to give her the 3 laws of robotics to protect humanity. However, he instantly changes his mind because he is no longer going to be the good guy. He decides to be as selfish as he can, and revises the 3 laws so that they only apply to him. The first law states that Amagi cannot harm her master directly or indirectly. The second law asks her to obey all his commands, and the third law asks her to protect herself as long as she doesn't need to violate the first 2 laws. Once Amagi has engraved the 3 laws into her system, Liam asks her what he should do to make his territory better and prosperous. She suggests he use an education capsule that will put knowledge and experience directly in his brain and also strengthen his body. She tells him that he will have to be in the education capsule for a few months, and during that time, she can take care of his territory on his behalf. Brian panics on hearing this and tells Liam that letting an AI maid handle the entire territory is dangerous for humanity. Liam tells him that it is not dangerous because he does not want to destroy humanity, and according to the second law, Amagi will follow his instructions perfectly. The flustered Brian tells Liam that the Empire will not accept this, but Amagi checks the Constitution and replies that there is no law preventing AI from helping with governance duties. With that, Liam orders Brian to get an education capsule ready and gives all the authority in his absence to Amagi. Once he gets inside the education capsule, Liam asks Amagi if she can feel emotions or even mimic them because she is quite advanced for an AI maid. Amagi replies that she doesn't know if she is capable of feeling or mimicking emotions, but when Liam asked her to team up with him earlier, she found her cache suddenly overflowing with data. Liam realizes that Amagi can really feel some sort of emotions, and he asks her to take care of everything while he speedruns through his school and college education. Liam gets out of the education capsule after exactly 2 years with decades of information and experience stored in his brain. He is surprised to learn that he was in there for 2 years, and Amagi tells him that it is natural because he had no sense of time inside the education capsule. Liam then notices that his body has also grown bigger and stronger in 2 years thanks to the capsule, and Amagi tells him that he will need some rehab to get used to this growth. Once Liam is done with the rehab, he takes charge of his planet and receives a report from Amagi. He finds that the condition of the planet has been improving slowly, and decides to take a closer look at their main facilities. Amagi takes him to the spaceship launch pad first, and Liam starts drooling as he sees spaceships take off and dock in their floating dock, which serves as their line of defense. He gets even more excited as he sees the giant battle robot the soldiers operate. But Amagi tells him that most of them are not in use because they don't have the budget to repair them. Liam says that he also wants to be inside the giant battle robot, and Amagi is happy to arrange that for him. Liam gets inside one battle robot, and then Amagi tells him that the movement of the robot is controlled through magic. She asks him to simply imagine how he wants to move the robot, and it will do just that. Liam gives it a try and finds that getting the battle robot to move is not really hard. However, Amagi tells him that she removed all weapons from the robot's suit to ensure his safety. Liam says that he really wants to fight someone in the robot, and Amagi arranges for that by summoning the captain of their troops. Liam charges directly at the captain's battle robot and knocks him down, but he quickly realizes that the captain is not being serious with him. He yells at him to fight earnestly, and the man obeys his command. Liam charges at him again, but this time, the captain disarms his robot and then slams it to the ground. Liam is surprised by the difference between them, and Amagi tells him that since the captain has more experience and training, he can visualize moving his robot much better than a total noob. This makes Liam realize that he is too weak, and he decides to train to become stronger. He orders Brian to find him the best martial arts instructor around, and the butler tells him that he is a ruler, so he doesn't need to learn to fight. Liam shuts down his advice because he was suppressed by powerful people in his previous life, and this time he wants to be more powerful than anyone else. Soon after that, a samurai named Yasushi arrives outside the castle to become Liam's teacher. Liam instantly starts fanboying after seeing Musashi Mihawk and thinks that he is a great martial artist. He says that he is really excited to learn from one of the best martial artists in this world, and Yasu starts sprouting philosophical about how he strives to make his martial arts style the best in the whole empire, but it is a process that never ends. Liam is even more smitten by him now, and when Amagi tries warning him that the swordsman looks shady, he overlooks her warning, saying that being a little shady is the proof that he is a great swordsman. He is certain that Yasu is solely focused on becoming strong, so he seems detached from the world, but Amagi tells him to at least test him out. Liam agrees and asks Yasu to show his skills, so he takes him to a nearby place where some wooden logs are standing upright. Yasu says that he is going to show him the secret technique of his martial arts style, but he can show it to him only once, and he must memorize it in that chance. Liam asks Amagi to record everything, and then Yasu takes his stance. He only draws his sword halfway out of the sheath and then quickly puts it back. But the very next moment, the logs are sliced in half and fall to the ground. Liam is shocked to see this, and he asks Amagi to analyze the recording and tell him how Yasu did it. The recording shows that he didn't even draw his sword, and Liam is dumbfounded as he thinks that Yasu was so fast that even Amagi could not record his actions properly. He eagerly asks Yasu to be his teacher, and he gladly accepts. However, he returns to the site later at night, laughing at Liam because he fell for his trick that used logs that were already cut in half. Unaware that he is getting scammed, Liam keeps training under Yasu in sword and spear arts. He keeps getting better at the basics over the years, but never gets close to learning the secret skill that he thinks Yasu possesses. One evening, after training hard for 3 years, Liam tries cutting a log of wood with an aerial slash, but obviously nothing happens. He wonders how can he learn the secret technique because he needs a finishing move befitting his strength. That night, as Yasu is busy reading manga in his room, Liam knocks on the door. Liam asks him to teach him the secret technique, but Yasu tells him that he can no longer study under him. Liam is shocked, and the poser swordsman reminds him that on their first meeting, he clearly told him that he was going to show him the secret technique only once. He says that it was his fault for not learning it there and then, and therefore he doesn't deserve to study under him anymore. Liam panics on hearing this and begs Yasu to forgive him, promising that he won't bother him about it again, and Yasu pretends to forgive him. Once Liam leaves, he starts eating chips and mocks the boy for believing that a technique like that really exists. Just then, Liam opens the door again, saying that he wants to add a little more money to his monthly fees to properly apologize for his actions earlier. Yasu has no reason to decline more money, and he starts dancing and emoting because this is the easiest job he ever had. But then Liam appears again, saying that he wants a day off from his training because he has some urgent business tomorrow. The next day, Liam receives a report about his planet's economy from Amagi. She tells him that they are still under heavy debts, but they are recovering gradually, and Liam is glad to hear that. He praises Amagi, but she says that she doesn't deserve his praise because she has not been able to meet her expectations. She shows him that the progress is very slow in some sectors like education and human resource development despite investing a large amount. As soon as Liam sees the details, he realizes what is wrong and immediately summons the person in charge of the department. Soon, an ugly, sweaty idiot comes there and Liam immediately gets to business. He asks the man why has he been stealing funds from the government because there is some proof that he has been diverting money to his own pockets. The man takes Liam for a naive kid and tries telling him that there are many unpredictable problems in his line of work and they need money to be solved. Liam begins inspecting him even closely, and he almost admires the man's corruption, thinking that he may get some tips from him. However, just then Amagi shows him a news article about a scandal caused because of corruption. The man tells Liam that it was not him, but his subordinate who caused the scandal, and he was executed for it. Amagi studies more news articles and reports and finds that there was not enough evidence that the subordinate was behind the corruption, and even after his execution, the money was not recovered. Liam suddenly remembers how he was framed by his boss in his past life, and he is sure that this sweaty idiot did the same thing. He gets enraged and directly confronts the man, asking if he framed and killed his subordinate. The jerk tries pretending that he didn't do anything, but as Liam walks towards him with his sword drawn, He says that he just did whatever was necessary to keep the economy running smoothly. However, when that doesn't seem to calm Liam down, the man tries to intimidate him, saying that he is enjoying this luxury because people like him work hard to run the country. Liam doesn't let him complete his sentence and sends him to the afterlife with one swing of his sword. He tells the moron that only he gets to misuse his power and oppress his people. He yells that no one is allowed to touch his people and his money, and he will kill anyone who tries to take what belongs to him. Liam then orders Amagi to conduct a thorough investigation and execute every corrupt official, but she asks him to calm down first. Liam suddenly realizes that he just killed someone, but Amagi helps him let go of the sword. She then tells him that executing or firing every corrupt official will be really harmful for their planet because almost everyone is corrupt, and she can't handle everything herself. She suggests Liam to buy around 30 more AI maids who are specialized in administration and related jobs, and it doesn't matter even if they are not high-spec models. Liam tells her to do that and execute the corrupt officers as well, but Amagi is concerned that it may negatively affect his image. Liam tells her that he doesn't care about his image because he doesn't need anyone who doesn't obey him. Soon after that, Liam decides to test his 3 years of training by sparring against the captain again. However, before he can get inside a battle robot, Yasu arrives there and tells him that it will be pointless to get into an easy-to-control mass-produced robot. He says that if Liam wants to reach the top, he must take the hard way and try to pilot a robot that not everyone can control. Liam thinks that Yasu makes sense, and he turns to the captain, who tells him that if he likes, he can use the personal battle robot of his great-grandfather that is 3 generations old. As it turns out, Yasu is trying to make Liam bring out his great-grandfather's mechanite on purpose. Earlier today, he was rummaging through the storehouse to steal something valuable because Liam was learning too quickly, and soon he won't have anything left to teach him, and that would be the end of his best job. He didn't find any valuables in the storehouse until he stumbled on an old mecha unit that looked like it wouldn't work even after being repaired, but he felt that he could sell its parts for a huge amount. Liam falls for his trick and orders Brian to repair the old mechanite. Brian tells him that the unit is too old and unfit to be used, and he should use a mass-produced unit to learn the basics. But Liam refuses, saying that his teacher has told him that the truly skilled fighters can pilot even the most difficult mechas. Brian doesn't have any reply to that, so he simply suggests Liam to at least stop wasting his time training because he is already too good. Liam refuses this suggestion too, saying that he is training to use the ultimate move Yasu showed him. In the meantime, Amagi goes to check the old mecha on Liam's order. She doesn't trust Yasu at all, but she can't refuse her master's orders, and she wishes that the old mecha keeps him safe. A few days later, an engineer named Niaz arrives on the planet to repair the mecha. She introduces herself as an engineer from the 7th Imperial Weapon Factory, and Liam introduces himself in response. Niaz suddenly starts staring at Amagi and Liam gets defensive, asking if she has any problem with his maid. However, Niaz is actually interested in Amagi because she has never seen such an expensive custom-made AI robot. She tries examining her in detail, but Liam stops her and tells her to just do the job she is here for. He then takes her to the old mecha, and Niaz immediately tells him to forget about it and buy something new. Liam is adamant about repairing the old unit, and Niaz tells him that they have stopped manufacturing this model long ago, so the spare parts will be rare and expensive. Liam tells her to replace the parts she can't find with modern ones, but he wants her to keep the controls manual. He tells her that he doesn't care how much it costs, and Niaz is glad to hear that. Liam also tells her that he wants a finishing move like a rocket punch. And just then, Yasu comes there to see what's going on. He falls in love at first sight with Niaz and tries approaching her while looking cool, but she is too busy quarreling with Liam about the reasons she can't install a rocket arm on the robot. In the end, Liam convinces her with the power of money, but Yasu gets jealous because Niaz didn't pay him any attention. He decides to take it out on Liam by putting him through an impossible training. He has to defend against tennis balls blindfolded while balancing himself on a log in the middle of a lake, and his sword has also been made excessively heavy. Liam tells Yasu that it is not possible, but he is doing it just to get revenge. So he tells Liam to stop relying on his senses and use his instincts instead. Yasu tells him to stop thinking and start feeling, and Liam takes him seriously as always. A few days later, Niaz finishes repairing and customizing the mecha unit, and Brian gets nostalgic remembering the glory days of the Banfield family. Niaz then shows Liam how to use the mecha and takes him inside for a demo. The control room has been made bigger using spatial magic, and once Liam sits on his seat, the mecha scans him and assigns him as its master. Niaz tells him that now the unit will only recognize him as its pilot. With that, Liam tries to take a step forward in the mecha, but it ends up falling on the ground because it doesn't have any features to assist him in moving. Niaz tells him that this will make it much harder to control the mecha, but if Liam can master it, he can move it exactly like his body. Liam decides to try again, and this time he successfully gets up and walks outside the storeroom. Niaz is impressed by his skills and tells him that if he can control the mecha so well right off the bat, he must be a real genius. She tells him to keep imagining how he wants to move the mecha. But then her marshmallows touch Liam's arm, and his incel mind is taken over by his gooner instincts. He starts imagining dirty things and the mecha acts them out. Yasu panics on seeing this as he thinks that Liam is doing perverted things to Niaz inside the mecha, and Brian is glad because this is the first time Liam has shown interest in a human woman. Inside the mecha, Niaz also freaks out and thinks that Liam is a pervert, and later, Yasu makes his insane training even more intense as his revenge. The next day, Liam trains to learn the secret skill again, but as usual, he doesn't make any progress. He asks Amagi if he has no talent for swordsmanship, and she replies that as an AI maid, she cannot grasp the concept of talent. However, she thinks that the problem is not with Liam but with Yasu. She says that the problem is his credibility, and instead of realizing that he is being scammed, Liam thinks that Amagi is telling him that he has not trusted Yasu enough. Amagi tells him that she meant something else, but Liam has already realized what he is lacking. He says that Yasu cutting the logs that were out of his sword's range is physically impossible, but this world also has magic. He believes that magic is the only explanation of how he can use his ultimate move. Liam says that if he focuses his magic on his sword and imagines himself swinging it out as a flying slash, he might be able to use the ultimate move as well. He immediately starts practicing with this principle in mind, and years pass with him trying to send a magical slash towards his target, and one day, he succeeds in breaking through his limits. The next day, Liam invites Yasu to see his progress. He then uses his special technique to send a magic slash and cuts a wooden log in half, and Yasu's mind is blown. He wonders how could Liam have learned the technique when it was fake from the beginning. Liam asks him if he has passed, and Yasu has no answer because he has managed to do the impossible. He stays silent, wondering what to say, and Liam thinks that he is upset because he grew content just after learning to cut things at a distance. Well, Yasu says just that, telling him not to get complacent even though he has achieved a great feat, and tells him to keep working hard to become stronger. A few days later, Liam receives news that pirates have attacked one of the planets under his domain. Amagi tells him that the planet was unfit for living or mining, but she succeeded in establishing a factory there, and now the pirates are trying to plunder it. Brian informs Liam that their soldiers are fighting against the pirates, but they won't last too long. Liam immediately turns to Amagi for a strategy, and she tells him that they can use the planet's horizon and unique gravity to launch a surprise attack on the pirates. He tells her to handle the battle in space and capture the pirate ship while he joins the soldiers in defending the factory. Brian tells him that it is too dangerous, but Liam doesn't listen to him and gets inside his mecha knight. Amagi launches him towards the planet, and Liam uses the clouds to hide and launch sneak attacks on the pirates. The pirates panic as Liam's mecha begins hunting them down, and some of them attack him from behind, but thanks to Yasu's insane training, Liam has developed observation haki, and he easily takes the pirates down. He uses his observation haki to detect enemies hiding behind the clouds and uses another weapon to shoot them down. The pirates grow even more concerned and decide to retreat, but then Liam uses his flying slash, cutting through dozens of their mechas at once. The pirates lose their mind because they have never heard of a weapon that cut at this distance, and they immediately retreat. Liam decides to give them a taste of his special rocket punch, but nothing happens when he gives the command. He wonders if Niaz didn't install the feature in his mecha, when suddenly a magic circle appears next to him and a giant rocket arm flies out from it, hitting the escaping pirates and causing a huge explosion. Liam is angry because this is not what he wanted, but Niaz tells him that this was the only way to make Rocket Punch a functional attack. Just then, Amagi contacts Liam, telling him that she could only capture 10% of the pirate ships. 30% of them were destroyed, and the remaining 60% escaped. Liam counts that as a win and tells Amagi that she did a great job. Soon, the news of his troops being defeated reaches Pirate Captain Goes in his laboratory, and he grows furious on hearing this. His assistant tells him that the pirates underestimated the enemy and tasted defeat, and they retreated to cut their losses. The pirate captain calls the retreating pirates wimps and declares that he will not tolerate losers in his crew. He orders his assistant to get the entire fleet ready because they will destroy the ones who ran back home to send a message to everyone that Captain Goes doesn't take failure kindly. He gets ready to lead the fleet himself and tells his latest test subject to wait a little longer because he will have fun with her later. Back on Liam's side, he docks with the space station outside his planet, satisfied with his victory over the pirates. Amagi congratulates him on winning his first ever battle, and Liam says that what is even better than the victory is the fact that they got some loot. Amagi tells him that according to the laws of the Empire, if they capture a pirate ship, the ship as well as the cargo inside it belongs to them. Liam gets thrilled on hearing this because he thinks that the pirate ships will be loaded with gold and silver, but surprisingly, they have something even more valuable. As the soldiers take out huge crates of rare minerals like adamantite and mithril from the pirate ships, Amagi tells Liam that they are really valuable. He is not satisfied with that because he wanted gold and diamonds, but Amagi tells him that gold doesn't have any value because it is mostly a useless element, and diamond is just carbon so they can make it at home. Liam realizes that the precious metals and stones of Earth have no value in this world, but the gold digger inside him still wants the shiny yellow metal. He demands gold, and Brian tells him that they have some gold that they use to make electronic items. Liam tells him to turn the gold into coins and fill his room with them. And as for mithril and other rare elements, he wants them to be turned into legendary weapons. Brian apologizes as he informs Liam that they don't have any blacksmiths skilled enough in their domain to do that. Liam is disappointed, but then Amagi tells him that she discovered something when they were fighting the pirates. She explains that currently, the Banfield family owns about 10,000 battleships, but only 30% of them are operational, and they can only deploy around 2,000 on emergency notice. Liam is surprised that they won against the pirates with just that, and Amagi says that the pirates underestimated them, and then Liam's skills in the battlefield push them into a corner quickly. Liam is glad to hear that, but the fact that 70% of his fleet is useless worries him, and Amagi suggests that they sell the scrap they don't use. Brian immediately objects, saying that if they reduce the number of ships in their fleet, the pirates will see them as easy targets and attack them again. Amagi replies that it costs money to do even basic maintenance on the unused ships, and they don't have too much of it. Liam agrees with her because he doesn't want to waste any money and says that they should either sell or repurpose the useless ships. Amagi then suggests that they can buy more ships with the money they will get from selling the materials from the pirate ships. She says that they won't be able to get the latest model, but they can buy enough second-hand ships to build their fleet. Brian again disagrees with her, saying that if they use second-hand ships, their family's pride will be harmed. Unfortunately for him, Liam doesn't give a flying shit about the family's pride and honor. He just wants to win, and that is why he orders Amagi to immediately buy some good second-hand battleships. Meanwhile, far away from Liam's territory, Nias is giving a presentation to the elite nobles from the Empire's army about the latest warship that the 7th Weapons Factory has developed. She tells them about how the latest ship is more powerful than the previous ones and how it is more fuel efficient and easy to maintain. After she is done with her presentation, her rival from the 3rd Weapons Factory introduces her ship, starting by revealing that it was designed by an award-winning architect. She shows off the luxurious interior of the ship that is made by the top fashion company, and the rare and expensive materials used in furnishing the ship. She tells the guests that with their ship, they will look elegant no matter how hard the battle becomes. Her sales pitch works, and all the wannabes of the Imperial Army decide to buy the 3rd Factory's ship as their main battleship. Nias is dumbfounded by this because her ship is better, and she asks why would someone choose a luxury cruise instead of a battleship. The woman from the 3rd Factory replies that their ship also has weapons made by experts, so they are strong too. But being strong is not enough, and they have to be beautiful to attract customers. Nothing Nias says makes any difference, and as she walks out of the building with her rival, she tells her that if their ships get into actual combat, the 7th Factory will by a huge margin. The blonde bitch laughs at her, saying that their ship will never face each other because no one will buy the plain and boring ships that Nias made. Nias gets frustrated on hearing this and gets ready to throw hands, but unfortunately, both of them are in their home and talking through a projector. Nias gets disappointed because she will be scolded by her boss now, and she wonders if there is any noble who will buy their battleships. Suddenly, she remembers Liam, who chose to ride a manual battle armor, and she feels that the sucker will definitely buy her battleships as well. Meanwhile, the guide, the sick weirdo who gets off on other people's negative emotions, is busy messing with ordinary people on Earth. He enjoys their negative emotions, but they are just appetizers, and he is really waiting for Liam's negative emotions, believing that he might be in a lot of debt already. He decides to get his first dose of the negative emotions and enters the fantasy world, but he is shocked to see that Liam has changed his city. It is no longer overgrown with plants, and construction work is progressing smoothly. The guide can't believe this because the city should be even worse now. He then thinks that at least Liam should be pretty disappointed about his swordsmanship, because he personally sent the scammer named Yasu in his direction. He goes to check up on the useless swordsman and finds him drunk in a bar, bitching about how his student became a first-class swordsman even though he is not even a third-rate swordsman himself. He complains that he kept following the stupid training methods and somehow managed to copy a magic trick and make it a real attack. The guide is confused by this and checks on Liam directly, only to find that now he can copy the exact move that Yasu showed him on their first meeting. However, Liam is not satisfied with this because he thinks that Yasu lowered his level to show it to him, and if he used his full power, he could cut a target from as far as a mile. He decides to keep training harder, and while swinging his sword, he thinks about how his life started off terribly when his parents abandoned him, but he was able to make the right choices because good people came into his life. He thanks the guide for sending him here, and these positive emotions make the weirdo fall to his knees because he feels pain when exposed to positivity. He immediately consumes Yasu's negative emotions to replenish his health, and wonders how can Liam be so happy. He is sure that he didn't make a mistake in sending him here, and the happiness Liam is facing right now will make him cry even harder when he eventually finds his life getting ruined. A few days later, Amagi tells Liam that the Imperial Army is replacing their warships with the latest models, and they have agreed to sell the battleships they were using till now. Liam likes the deal, but then Amagi tells him that the Imperial Army has put a condition that they will have to accept some reserve officers and soldiers that are going to be retired soon. Liam thinks that the Imperial Army is handing over the unwanted people to them, but Amagi says that it is a good idea because even if the soldiers are second-rate, they have more experience than the best of their soldiers, and adding them to the army will benefit the Banfield estate. Liam decides to go ahead with the deal after hearing this, and the guide decides to send a bunch of very sincere and just soldiers to him who won't tolerate an evil lord and rebel against him. On the other hand, Yasu is hungover from his trip to the bar, but when he hears Nias calling him from outside his room, he immediately sobers up. He invites her in and Nias starts praising him, saying that he trained Liam to become a master swordsman at such a young age. Yasu thinks she is hitting on him, but Nias just wants info on Liam so that she can do business with him. This misunderstanding remains strong throughout their conversation, and Yasu thinks that Nias wants to know about his hobbies and preferences when she wants to know what kind of complimentary offer she can give Liam to get him to buy their battleships. He tries to act like a Chad, but when Nias keeps begging, he reveals his fetish for office ladies. Well, Nias thinks that this is what Liam likes, so when she goes to meet him the next time, she dresses exactly like Yasu told her. She begins acting like a TikTok thought as she asks him to buy her ships, but Liam immediately refuses, saying that he just bought a whole squadron of second-hand ships and soldiers. On learning that he brought the ships from the Imperial Army, Nias curses the third weapon factory for getting in her way here too, but she refuses to leave without giving Liam a demo. She tells him about her factory's ships that are designed for peak performance, and he tells her to sell them to the Imperial Army if they are so good. Nias cries that she couldn't win them over with her presentation. She begs Liam to buy even 100 of her ships and says that if he doesn't have money, he can take a loan and repay it later. Liam doesn't want to hear about loans, so Nias decides to embrace her inner hoe and begins seducing him. He tells her to stop because it reminds him of the time his wife used to wear some flashy underwear, but not for him. Nias doesn't stop and keeps going further, and Liam decides to agree to her request to get her to stop. He decides to buy 300 battleships from her because Amagi tells him that they will be useful in the future, and Nias gladly runs to get them ready for him. Outside, she contacts her teammate and tells him how she seduced a noble to sell 300 ships, and both Brian and Yasu hear it. While Brian is worried that Liam fell for a honey trap, Yasu is furious, thinking that Liam made a move on Niaz even though she is clearly into his teacher. Soon after that, Niaz delivers the 300 advanced battleships that Liam ordered, and at the same time, the second-hand battleships they bought from the Imperial Army also arrive. Meanwhile, Yasu is still sulking over Niaz trying to honey trap Liam because he feels that it is Liam's fault. He thinks that Liam offered her money to act like that for him, and he can't forgive him for that. Well, someone is happy to see his negative emotions, and that is the guide. He wants Yasu to be more angry at Liam and then hurt him in a manner that will cause Liam to feel intense negative emotions as well. Unaware about his teacher's desire to get revenge on him, Liam goes to inspect the latest battleships of the 7th Weapon Factory, and Niaz is present there to give him a tour. Liam says that even though it is not exactly luxurious, a new model is a good thing. Niaz tells him that luxuries are useless, but Liam replies that he needs them anyway. Niaz pretends that she didn't hear that and begins telling him about the battleship nicknamed Ash Viper. She starts acting like a car salesman and tells Liam to operate the ship at less than 25% power for the first 3,000 space kilometers and change the neutrino oil every 5,000 space kilometers. She also tells him that he will get loyalty points that will give him benefits if he only contacts their factory to repair the ships, and Liam asks if she is selling him a battleship or a car. Niaz pretends not to hear that too and asks him to sign the receipt. After that, Niaz begins acting like a hoe again and requests Liam to give her the pirate ships he captured recently. He refuses, saying that he plans to add them to his fleet as well, but she keeps begging. Suddenly, Amagi comes up with an idea and tells Liam that they can give some of the ships to Niaz and ask her to modify the rest because most of the ships are in a terrible condition and they may stop working anytime. Niaz says that she will gladly accept those conditions because pirate ships use unknown technology from outside the Empire and all researchers are eager to study them. Liam also likes the idea, and he immediately takes Amagi and Niaz to check the pirate ships. They find that its interior is quite different from their ships, and Niaz finds a lot of new buttons on its control panel. Liam notices a steering wheel, and the one-piece weeb inside him awakens on seeing this. He tells Niaz that he wants to put this steering wheel on his battleship, and she warns him that it will be useless because it makes controlling the ship harder. Liam tries acting like a Chad by saying that sometimes a man wants what his heart says even though it is useless. She just sighs and agrees to do it, but then she notices a very unusual device in the pirate ship and begins geeking over it. Liam gets bored by her yapping when he spots a glowing creature disappearing around the corner. He runs after it, telling Amagi that he thought he saw a dog. Suddenly, he sees the same glowing dog disappearing into the corner in front of him again, and he decides to follow it. The trail leads him and Amagi to a strange room, and she plugs herself into the console to find that it is the navigation room. She activates the navigation devices, and the floor turns into a map of all the places that the ship has been. They find that the pirates have been raiding ships throughout the Empire, but then Amagi notices something even more worrisome. She says that once the pirate ship finishes its raids, it always teleports back to a warp gate at the boundary of the Empire. From there, it uses a short warp to go outside of the Empire's territory. Liam is intrigued, and he asks her if the pirate ship goes to another empire, but she tells him that it goes to the battlefield at the border of the empires. She explains that it has been a place for different nations and nobles to fight, and Liam realizes that the pirates are using it because no one bothers to capture them in a lawless zone. He then asks Amagi about their destination when they use the short warp, and she says that it is not a fixed point, but she senses a pattern. She starts decoding the pattern, and within a few seconds, she finds that their destination for the short warp is a rogue planet with an unusual orbit that moves very quickly in a region full of small black holes. She says that the gravity of the black holes make the orbit really unpredictable, and the only way pirates can teleport to it is because they know about it in advance. Liam is really curious now, and he says that this rogue planet is the perfect place to hide something. Amagi agrees, saying that this must be the hidden base of the pirates, but Liam disagrees with her. He says that this is definitely a treasure island, because pirates always stop by treasure islands after completing their raids. He tells Amagi to get his fleet ready at once because they are going on a treasure hunt. On the other hand, Pirate Captain Goes has captured his underlings who ran away after losing the fight with Liam. Goes is furious that his men lost to a poor and weak noble, and he declares that he will restore his honor by crushing Liam himself. But before that, he destroys the ships of the cowards who ran back. And then, he orders his men to warp to the Pomonia Gate at the border of the Empire. At the same time, Liam and his troops also finish their short-range warp and reach their nearest warp gate, which will lead them to the Pomonia Gate. However, they can't use it because the authorities that maintain the warp gate don't allow them to use it. The supervisor contacts Liam, telling him that he needs to pay a toll to use the warp gates based on the weight of his vehicles and the distance covered. He clearly tells Liam that the toll for teleporting 7,000 warships to the border of the Empire is quite high, and he needs advance payment because he doesn't trust the Banfield family's ability to pay the toll later. Liam promises that he will pay the amount in full once he returns, but the supervisor tells him that there is no guarantee that he will return because if he gets caught by pirates, it will be over for him. Liam refuses to return because it cost him a lot of money to bring his troops here, and he is not going to waste his time and resources by turning around to bring his wallet. He then turns into a Karen and says that he wants to talk to the manager. The supervisor tells him that he is the highest-ranking person here, and Liam decides to talk to him face-to-face. Amagi thinks that it won't change anything because they are not even close to a deal right now, but Liam tells her that humans have a unique ability to understand each other better when they meet in person. Meanwhile, Goz and his pirate ships reach the Pomonia Gate and the authorities on their side are already in his pocket. He pays them the usual amount and gets them to link the warp gate to the location where Liam's troops are waiting, but he doesn't know about that yet. At the same time, Liam is in the office of the Warp Gate Authority, and he tells the supervisor to open the gate for him because he will definitely pay him back once he returns. However, the supervisor stands on business and refuses all his attempts to convince him. Just then, he gets a call about the pirates coming through, and he tells Liam to go home because he has other things to do. Liam is disappointed about that, but then he again feels the glowing dog running behind him, and he decides to see what the hell is going on. Meanwhile, the pirates enter the warp gate and a wormhole connects them to the gate on the other side. As they travel through the gate, Goz tells his men that they will destroy the Banfield family and plunder everything they have. On the other hand, the supervisor on Liam's side tells his underling not to worry about who is coming from the other side of the warp gate because it is none of their business. His subordinate, however, knows that it is a pirate crew, and he is worried about Liam's fleet that is stationed in the waiting zone right now. The supervisor tells him to stop worrying because it is only natural for pirates to target a weak noble family, and they shouldn't stick their nose where it doesn't belong because they receive a lot of money from the pirates. He then tells everyone in the control room that they will take a 30-minute break now so that they don't see or hear anything, and 30 minutes is exactly how long it will take the pirates to cross the gate. Well, just as everyone leaves the control room, Liam arrives there, chasing the glowing dog. He is still confused about it, but when he notices that he is in the control room and the warp gate has been connected to Pomonia, he suddenly gets happy. He thinks that the supervisor refused to listen to his request publicly, but he turned out to be a tsundere who secretly helped him in the end. Liam thinks that everyone left the control room to keep it a secret that they helped him. He gets happy, but then he notices that the direction of the wormhole is opposite, and he decides to fix that. He sits down on the control panel and reverses the direction of the wormhole forcefully, but that creates a problem and the wormhole branches out, taking Goz and his fleet into another direction, which they don't even realize. Just then, Amagi contacts Liam, asking him to return because they can get the permission to use the warp gate now. He returns immediately and asks how can they get permission, and Amagi says that she contacted Nias for help, and she told them that they can use the 7th weapon factory as a guarantor. Nias says that since they have done good business, she can do at least this for him, and Liam is glad to hear that. Since there are no problems now, he orders his fleet to enter the warp gate. They soon exit the Pomonia Gate, and Liam orders Amagi to initiate a short distance warp to the treasure island as soon as their entire fleet assembles. On the other hand, the pirates are getting impatient because they should be out on the other side by now, but they are still stuck in the wormhole. Suddenly, they notice that they are approaching a gate, but once they exit it, they realize that they are doomed. Instead of going to the area near Liam's territory, the pirate fleet ended up in the Imperial Army's training ground, where 70,000 of Imperial battleships are stationed at the moment. Meanwhile, Liam's fleet is fully assembled, and they use the short-distance warp to reach the treasure island that is swarming with pirate ships. Amagi calculates that there are 20,000 pirate ships around the treasure island, but most of them are docked and inactive because they weren't expecting anyone to come so close. That is good news for Liam, and he decides to get into his battle armor as he orders Amagi to handle the rest. She immediately orders the fleet to open fire on the pirate ships. As the pirate ships are wiped out quickly, Liam also gets ready and launches into the battle zone. He fights against the pirate mechas that are no match for his skill, and then uses his rocket punches to attack pirate ships and blow them up by pulling their crucial wires. Soon, the entire pirate fleet is wiped out, and Liam orders Amagi to send all the mecha soldiers to the treasure planet to collect anything they find. Liam and his mecha knights attack the treasure planet, destroying its outer surface to create a way in. A scientist inside the planet panics as the attacks from Liam's army destroy whatever remains of their defense system, and he heads to the control room, where he learns that they are under attack and all the pirate ships standing guard around the planet have been destroyed. Meanwhile, Liam has finally made his way into the planet's interior, and he comes face to face with some pirates in mecha armors. He doesn't waste any time in chopping them off, and by the time the captain of his troops arrives there, he has already done his job. The captain tells him that they took care of the pirates on their side too, and Liam orders them to keep clearing the path while searching for the treasure room. Suddenly, he sees the glowing dog again, and he decides to follow its trail. That turns out to be the right decision, as the path leads him to the control room, where the scientist and his men surrender immediately. Liam is pleased with how it turned out, and he asks the scientist to hand over all the treasure. The Ugo asks him what kind of treasure he wants, because he has things worth money and the pets that pirate Captain Goes collects. Liam thinks that the dog he saw earlier must be one of the pets, and he asks the scientist more about them. He starts thinking that Liam is also a twisted sadist like Goes, who likes turning people into his pets and offers to turn the pets into obedient dogs for him if he likes. Liam doesn't get one word of what he is saying, so the scientist decides to lead him into the lab where he keeps all his subjects. As he shows them the girls that have been turned into horrible monsters because of his experiments, a soldier starts puking because he can't handle that. While the captain scolds him for being so weak, Liam walks ahead, and his gaze gets stuck on a particular test subject. The scientist tells him that he has a good eye, because this one is the favorite pet of Captain Goes. As he keeps yapping about how this girl is his masterpiece, Liam grows disgusted, remembering his past life where he was treated as less than a human. He can't bear to see some bastard hurting other people like that, so he puts a bullet in the scientist's head while he is in the middle of yapping. He then starts looking around the room, but then the voice of the octopus-like girl, with her eyes in her palms, reaches him. She asks him who is he, and Liam introduces himself to her, saying that he has taken this planet under his control and killed the person in charge. The girl is moved to tears on hearing this, because she thinks that her suffering is finally going to end. She begs Liam to end her suffering and that of the other girls because they can never live as humans again. However, Liam confidently declares that he will save everyone, and in return, they will have to repay this favor to him. He walks away with that, ordering his soldiers to call a medic and transport the girls to his ship so that they can be treated. The girl begs him to stop because she knows she can't be saved, and the captain pities her, but he cannot disobey Liam's direct orders. He tries convincing him to change his mind, saying that it will not be easy to treat the girls because they will need to regenerate their entire body, which costs a rare elixir and some very skilled doctors. He says that the cost of saving all these girls is simply not worth it. But Liam replies that he is in a good mood right now, and doing a few good deeds every once in a while doesn't hurt. Just then, he gets a message from Amagi, telling him that they found the actual treasure room, and Liam is glad to hear that because they just arranged for the fee to treat the girls. Meanwhile, the girl named Christina who begged Liam to kill her keeps crying about her misfortunes. She used to be the Princess Knight of the Holy Kingdom, and everyone was proud of her achievements in fighting pirates. However, when she went to fight Goes and his men, she was tricked and captured, and then the pirates blew up her home planet right in front of her eyes. Her family panicked because the pirates could not have gotten past the troops from the United Alliance that protected the region, but they soon realized that the Alliance had betrayed them. The shields protecting them could not hold on much longer, and soon the entire planet was destroyed. Christina was completely devastated by this, but her misfortunes were just starting. After destroying her planet, Goes took her and her subordinates to her treasure island. While everyone was afraid, Christina still clung to hope and assured them that help would come for them soon. When Goes came to see her, Christina told him to kill her right then if he wanted to because she would rather die than live a life of humiliation. The pirate captain laughed, saying that he would have killed her long ago if he wanted that, but he kept everyone alive because he wanted to add them all to his collection. He then declared that he had changed his mind and he would free just one of the girls. He asked Christina to choose, and after being pressed, she chose the girl who looked the most terrified. However, that turned out to be a disgusting trap as Goes took the girl Christina chose as his first test subject. He gave her to the scientist who transformed into a multi-armed monster and began cutting through her body. Christina lost her mind and begged Goes to stop, but he just laughed and told her that if he stopped right now, the girl would die. The traumatized Christina had no choice but to let the evil scientist experiment on the girl. He soon turned her into a monster, and as Christina watched in horror, Goes told her that she will be soon turned into something even more spectacular. She asked him how the hell could he do something like this, and he told her that he enjoys it. He says that it is not fair that he is so ugly, so he turns beautiful girls into ugly monsters and watches them completely break down. Soon, he dragged her into the experiment chair, and Christina could no longer be brave. She begged Goes to stop, promising to do anything in return, but he laughed at her, saying that she is going to be his favorite pet from now on. He told her that he didn't pick her first on purpose because he wanted to see how ugly she would become and despair about it. Goes then ordered the scientist to pluck Christina's eyeballs and plant them in her hands so that she could see how ugly she was even without a mirror. Christina kept crying and screaming, but it was all pointless, and she was turned into an ugly green monster, and then the rest of her girls suffered the same fate. Back to the present, Liam returns to his home planet and Nias comes to visit him. She has learned about his victory on the pirate base and asks him to buy some more battleships to celebrate the occasion. Liam tells her to stop ripping him off, but Nias says that her battleships were useful and he made a great profit from the raid, so he should invest some more money. She tries seducing him again, but Liam is in no mood to fall for her tricks, so he tells her to shut the hell up. When her plans to seduce and blackmail him doesn't work, Nias reminds Liam that she was the one who got him the permission to enter the warp gate, and he finally agrees to listen to her request this time. He asks Amagi how many ships they can buy with the treasure they found, and she says that after deducting the necessary expenses, they have enough money to buy 5,000 ships. Liam is shocked to hear that, but Nias immediately runs out, saying that she will prepare an order of 5,000 ships for him. Liam chases after her, trying to stop her before the crazy bitch really gets that many ships ready. At the same time, Yasu is walking through the corridors, wondering what excuse should he make to ask for more money from Liam this time. Just then, Nias passes by, FaceTiming a colleague and telling him that she got a huge order from Liam after shredding her dignity to bits. As always, Yasu thinks that Liam is treating Nias as his plaything, and he gets furious, much to the joy of the guide, who has been loitering around in hopes of Liam experiencing some intense negative emotions. Meanwhile, Liam is looking for Nias, but Yasu finds him first and tells him to follow him. They go to the training ground, where Liam is blindfolded and his sword is made heavy before he undergoes another one of Yasu's impossible training. This time, Yasu has dozens of remote-operated drones that shoot tennis balls at Liam from all directions and at an even greater speed than before. Liam can't even react to them and he keeps getting hit, and then Yasu increases the power even more. Liam is on the ground immediately, saying that he can't block all the attacks with one sword, but Yasu tells him to stop making excuses and find the answer by himself. Well, that gives Liam the idea to use magic just like he did last time, but this time, he decides to use it for defense. He tries converting his magic into a barrier and immediately succeeds in doing that. As the barrier reflects all the balls, Yasu watches Liam dumbfounded as he begins his "I understand it now" speech. He then uses the barrier to send all the balls back in the direction they came from, and all the drones are destroyed. Liam then removes his blindfold and asks Yasu if he did well, but Yasu himself has been hit by multiple balls. He begins freaking out on realizing that Liam is truly a genius and he will soon see through his scam. He already knows that Liam has executed corrupted officers and subdued pirate fleets, and he fears that once Liam realizes the truth, he will kill him. He decides to escape before such a thing happens and starts walking away. Liam asks where is he going and Yasu says that he has nothing more to teach him. He tells him that he has learnt everything from him and now he just needs to practice however he wants because the path of swordsmanship is unending. Liam screams that he doesn't want that and he should still train under him, but Yasu yells at him, telling him to stop acting spoiled. He says that he is also a student himself despite his skills and that means he must keep improving, and having Liam cling to him is not good for that. Yosu then turns back towards Liam, telling him that he has officially graduated and now he is a master of the way of the Flash. He tells him that it is his duty as a master to spread the sword style throughout the universe, and Liam gladly agrees to that. Just as he turns around, Yosu runs for his life. Liam, on the other hand, has never felt so fulfilled before. His debt is decreasing, his territory is flourishing. He even defeated some pirates, and now his master has acknowledged his skills. He thanks the guide for all of it, and the perverted weirdo runs off to another universe before he is completely demolished by Liam's positive emotions. A couple weeks later, Liam begins thinking about the ideal evil lord he wants to become. He thinks that an evil lord needs to have power, money, and a harem of beautiful women. For power, he has already mastered the way of the Flash thanks to Yasu, and now all he needs is money and women. Just then, Amagi comes there and tells him that a merchant named Thomas is here to see him. Liam tells her to let him in because he was waiting for Thomas, who has come carrying the gold bars he requested. Liam is really happy to see the gold bars because that ticks the second thing off his evil lord requirement list, even though gold has very little value in this world. Thomas then congratulates him on his victory against the pirates, and Liam senses that he has a hidden motive behind it. He tells the merchant to get to the point, and Thomas explains that he has to pass through a dangerous area for a business trip, and he wants to borrow some ships from Liam's army to guard them. He says that just 100 ships will be enough, but Liam turns into a Karen and asks him why does he have to go to dangerous places in the first place. Thomas tells him that he has no choice because the entire trade route is under attack by pirates and many merchants have suffered serious losses because of that. Liam understands his worries and asks Amagi if they can send 100 ships with the merchant crew. Amagi tells him that they can deploy the ships at once and use it as training for their troops at the same time. Liam likes the conditions and agrees to send the ships, and in return Thomas promises that he will bring more gold for him the next time they meet. After that, Thomas leaves the palace, and on the way, he starts talking with his driver about how the Banfield territory has been developing rapidly thanks to the investments Liam has made. He is impressed by his abilities as a ruler, but his desire to hoard gold confuses him because the shiny yellow metal doesn't have much value. Thomas thinks that maybe Liam is just an oddball who is not greedy at all, but Liam is literally drooling over the gold bars at the same time. The butler Brian tells him that it is a good thing that merchants consider him important enough to bribe him, but they should try to ask for more valuable things than gold. However, Liam refuses to accept that statement and tells Amagi to process the gold bars and turn them into a luxurious bathroom for him. With that, his second condition of being an evil lord is met, and the only thing left now is creating his harem. He orders Brian to gather all the beautiful women in their territory so he can pick the best ones for his harem, and before that, he decides to renovate a large hall to be his fun room. As the robot maids renovate the room, Liam tells Brian that he will have a pool full of wine and pillars of juicy meat around it for the ultimate luxury because he once saw a scene like that in some manga in his past life. Brian doesn't understand why Liam is so weird, but it is not a new thing for him, so he decides to obey the orders. Amagi, on the other hand, has some objections, and Liam tells her that he is the head of the Banfield family, so he is allowed to use his money as he wants. Amagi has no problem with that, and she tells him that it won't even cost much to bring his fantasy to life, but there are other problems with it. For starters, filling a pool with alcohol will cause alcohol fumes to fill the room, and even the slightest spark may cause an explosion. Liam gets nervous and says he will reduce the alcohol content. But then Amagi asks why does he want to fill a pool with wine in the first place. She tells him that it will be too sticky to swim in and too dirty to drink, and Liam says that they water purifiers for that. Amagi tells him that the water purifier will remove all alcohol from the pool too, and then suddenly, Brian also jumps in the conversation. He tells Liam that he will not let his master do anything so unhygienic. He objects to hanging meat around the hall, but as Liam tries to argue, Amagi tells him that if he hangs processed meat, the room will look like a grocery store, and if he hangs raw meat, it will look like a butcher's shop. But he is still determined to create his harem. Amagi is perfectly fine with that, and she calls it a great idea even, and Liam is surprised by her reaction. Brian also tells him that since he is a noble and the head of the Banfield family, it is obvious that he must have a harem, and Liam realizes that he doesn't need to be an evil lord to fool around with women. Brian then starts ranting about how Liam seems uninterested in women, but he falls for the honey traps Niaz lays out. He says that he is always worried about him, because if something happens to him, the Banfield family is over. He tells Liam to start a harem immediately and then pop out a couple kids to continue his bloodline, but that is too much for Liam to handle. Anyway, he is happy that no one has any problem with his plan to start a harem, and he declares that they must start the search for beautiful women immediately. Brian suddenly asks him how big does he want his harem to be, and to appear like a dramatic evil lord, Liam declares that he wants 100 women. Brian freaks out on hearing this, but contrary to what Liam believes, the old butler says that the number is really small. Even Amagi agrees, saying that they had shortlisted 10,000 candidates and she was planning to call in the first 1,000 in the first batch. Liam panics on hearing that, but Brian keeps pushing him, telling him that he needs to have as many women in his harem as possible so that he can find the perfect one out of them. He keeps nagging him to find his soulmate soon, but Liam declares that Amagi is the perfect woman for him and she will always remain his best girl. As for his harem, Amagi shares the list with him, telling him to swipe right on the ones he likes, and they will call them to the palace immediately. She tells him that any woman will be lucky to accept an invitation to join his harem since he is the lord of this territory, but that is what pisses Liam off the most. He tells Amagi and Brian that he doesn't want women who will be happy to become his. Instead, he wants to be an evil lord and force women to be a part of his harem even when they don't like it. Brian is dumbfounded by his way of thinking, but Liam is not ready to back down. He tells him and Amagi to find some beautiful women who hate him because only they can satisfy his desire to become an evil lord. A couple days later, Liam goes to his territory to pick some women himself. It is his first time leaving his estate and he has no idea what the culture here is like. But he is confident that as long as he acts as a creep, women are bound to hate him. He decides to hit on the first cute girl he finds, but to his surprise, she is really interested in him as well because he looks handsome. She asks if he really wants someone like her and then blows a bubble out of her nose ring. Liam gets grossed out on seeing that, but then he sees that all the girls nearby have similar nose rings that blow out bubbles. He asks the girl what the hell is this thing, and she tells him that it is the latest fashion trend that is popular among women. Well, Liam loses all interest in her on seeing this and returns home, but he buys a nose ring for himself. Soon, Amagi and Brian come there, and they are surprised to see him wearing an accessory that is popular with women. Liam sighs, saying that the women of his territory have pretty shitty taste if they consider something as stupid as this fashionable. Amagi tells him that the snot bubble nose ring is really cute and tells Liam to let him show it to him, but he refuses. He then crushes the nose ring under his feet, saying that it is too disgusting, and immediately bans people from wearing it. He then starts complaining about how the fashion sense of his territory betrayed his expectations, because he thought he would see girls in tight dresses because this is a world where science fiction meets magic. However, all he found was girls who wear nose rings that blow snot bubbles. More than that, he was heartbroken when he saw women wearing full-body latex swimsuits that didn't show even a bit of skin, and Amagi tells him that it is the latest trend created by the people themselves to protect them from the sun rays. She tells Liam that it is the culture of the Banfield territory that the people define fashion for themselves. Liam refuses to accept that this is the fashion of his territory, and he declares that he will change the fashion industry. He immediately orders Amagi to hire some designers and some beautiful girls from his territory because if people see them wearing beautiful dresses, they will be influenced. To make an even bolder statement, he decides to hire the most popular model in the empire, but Amagi tells him that it is not possible because the fee for hiring the top model of the empire is the same as their annual budget. Liam immediately gives up on the idea of hiring any models, but he still wants to bring beautiful women to the palace so that he can dress them according to his desires. Amagi tells him that being good-looking is one of the conditions to be selected to work at the palace, and all the workers here are good-looking. Liam realizes that she is speaking the truth, and then Amagi and Brian tell him that he is free to take the servants to his bedroom and do naughty things with them, because they consented to it when they took the job. While Liam is pleased by this idea, it goes against his principles as an evil lord, and he wonders if he can actually do anything like a cruel dictator. On the other hand, Princess Christina, the girl whom Liam rescued from the pirate base, has returned to normal after an expensive treatment. As she wakes up and finds her body like it used to be, she is moved to tears because she was kept as a monster for decades. She is happy even if this is just a dream, but the doctor tells her that it is not a dream. She tells Christina that they used elixir, the miracle medicine that can heal any disease and injury on her. Christina is shocked to hear that and asks why would someone use such an expensive medicine on a princess whose homeland has been destroyed. But the doctor tells her that it is all thanks to Liam, who built this hospital, hired the doctors, and brought the elixir to treat all the girls captured by the pirates. Christina is left speechless on hearing that, and then the doctor tells her that the rehab to move her body properly will be a really hard one. She tells her that she is ready to do anything, and then the doctor leaves after giving her Liam's message that she has to repay the debt. Christina thinks about Liam and how he saved her from literal hell, and she decides to do everything she can to serve him as her master. Soon, Liam's territory starts developing at a rapid rate, and people start joking that there is too much work for them to do and too much money to make. The guide, who has been desperately trying to find someone who is unhappy with Liam, keeps on wondering what the hell did he do wrong, and why is everyone not poor and miserable like they supposed to be. He quickly moves to the army battalion that Liam received alongside the second-hand ships from the Imperial forces, and he had made sure that some earnest and honest soldiers would come here to start a rebellion against their evil lord. However, all of them have sworn their loyalty to Liam, because unlike other nobles, he actually takes a stand against pirates and treats his soldiers well. He then checks up on Yasu, who is enjoying his retirement at a club, thinking that he should be safe from Liam here even if he learns about the scam now. However, he jinxed himself by saying that, because the TV immediately displayed news about Liam getting a Medal of Honor from the Imperial Army for taking down the base of the pirates. In his acceptance speech, Liam thanks Yasu for helping him become so strong, and he panics, realizing that he is still going to dragged into things beyond his abilities because of Liam, and the guide is disappointed once again. Meanwhile, pirate Captain Goes has managed to escape the Imperial Army with most of his ships, using a few thousand ships as a decoy. He doesn't care about those he left behind and wonders how the hell did his fleet get warped to the Imperial Army training ground when they were heading to the Banfield territory. He thinks that the people at the warp gate betrayed him, and he tells his assistant to teach them a lesson. However, the guide appears next to him just then, saying that he is directing his anger towards the wrong people. He uses his power to manipulate Goes, telling him that the person he should tear apart is Liam, who raided his treasure island. Goes immediately changes his orders, telling his crew to refill their supplies, and once they are done with that, they will immediately head to the Banfield territory to plunder and destroy it. The guide is pleased with this, because he is confident that Goes will easily defeat Liam thanks to his strong fleet. Meanwhile, Liam is enjoying breakfast in his mansion, surrounded by his robot maids who fuss over every little thing. However, there is some part of him that is not satisfied by it. He tells Amagi that he is wondering what kind of food does an evil lord eat, because in his mind, an evil lord eats a huge amount of meat with beautiful women clinging to him and his men. Amagi asks him if he still wants to go ahead with his plan to build a lake of wine and tower of meat, and Liam says that he has given up on that. Amagi asks them if he wants to eat more or if he wants to call his officers to lunch, but Liam doesn't want either of that. Finally, Amagi assumes that Liam wants beautiful women to wait on him while he eats, and she asks if she should summon some from the list of his potential harem. Liam asks her if she is fine with that, and Amagi answers that she has no problem. Liam gets upset at this and asks her if she is fine with him getting another woman, and she replies that he doesn't have any woman right now, so grammatically, he can't get another woman before the first one. Liam says that he has her, but Amagi says that she is not technically a woman because she is a robot. Liam fails to get the answer he wants from her, and Amagi tells him that he needs to get a real wife to bear an heir, but she is fine with whatever makes him happy. Soon after that, Amagi presents the report of the financial year to Liam. She tells him that the treasure they got from the pirates played a great role in boosting their economy, and they paid a big chunk of their loan and saved some interest. Liam is appalled, thinking that his father and grandfather borrowed so much money that even the pirate treasure could not pay it all back. Anyway, Amagi continues her report, saying that their territory is growing slowly but steadily, and they will be able to pay off their debt soon. Liam sighs, saying that he thought he would use his money for himself after becoming an evil lord, but he needs to pay off the debt first. Amagi asks him what he wants to do as an evil lord, and he replies that maybe he should raise taxes to make the people suffer. Amagi warns him against it, saying that though it will boost his income for a short period of time, in the long term, it will harm his territory's development. Liam just sighs again, and Amagi asks if he is dissatisfied with his current life. He replies that he is actually pretty satisfied because good things keep happening to him. He has power, money, and even Amagi by his side, and going forward, he will use his power to enjoy his life regardless of the consequences. He thinks that Amagi won't even understand what he is talking about, and she agrees, saying that she might not understand his dreams or ambitions, but she will always stay by his side and make sure he achieves them. Soon after that, Brian comes running to the throne room to tell Liam about an emergency news. He says that pirates have declared war on them, and their ships keep gathering at the edge of their solar system. As Liam sees the radar, he thinks that it is quite out of character for pirates to declare war and gather their forces because they should be more crafty and cowardly. Amagi replies that the pirates might be giving them time so that everyone becomes more afraid of them. She explains it to Liam that since they stole the pirates' treasure, they might want to get revenge properly, and killing their enemy so easily won't do it. Liam agrees with her, saying that a nutjob who tortures and modifies the bodies of his prisoners will surely come up with a twisted way to get revenge. Amagi adds that if the pirates formally declared war on them, they must be really confident about their abilities. Liam gets a little worried on hearing this, and Brian decides to call a meeting with the military leaders. At the meeting, Brian tells everyone about pirate Captain Goes, whose treasure island they raided. He says that Goes is known as a vicious pirate and the Empire has placed a huge bounty on his head. Liam asks if they know anything else, and Brian says that Goes has demanded that they return all the treasure they took from his island, and in addition to that, he wants good-looking people as hostages. Liam gets pissed on hearing this, and while Brian thinks that it is because of concern for his people, Liam is actually jealous. Goes is abusing his power to extort wealth and kidnap people, and that is what an evil lord should be doing. Since the pirate captain is more evil than him, Liam decides that he will not let that happen. Meanwhile, one of his ministers suggests that they negotiate with the pirates because they will definitely lose in a fight, but the military general disagrees with him. He says that there is no guarantee that the pirates will leave them alone even if they agree to their demands, and the two of them start fighting. Liam asks about the number of pirate ships and learns that they have a fleet of 30,000 ships while his army can only deploy 5,000 ships at the moment. The general says that they should still protect their planet, but the minister says that they should negotiate and wait for backup from the Empire. The two of them start arguing again, but Liam is not interested in that. He begins thinking about the bounty on Goes, which is a fair amount, but it is not huge enough to risk picking a fight with his fleet of 30,000 ships. He says that only if his bounty was higher, he might have tried something, and Amagi says that she has a suggestion. She explains that they ran some battle simulations using the pirate ships they captured earlier, and according to that, their chances of winning a war are 3.8%. Brian gets disappointed on hearing that and says that if only the special weapon from the 7th weapon factory was completed, they might have had a chance. As he begins telling Liam about it, time suddenly freezes. Liam confirms this after trying to wake Amagi up, and then he begins looking around, wondering what is going to happen. Suddenly, the guide appears in front of him. Liam asks him what is he here for, telling him that he has an urgent issue at his hands right now. The guide says that he knows that Liam is worried about the pirates and reveals that he was the one who called them here. However, to make sure that Liam doesn't suspect him yet and breaks down only later, he says that he did it for his benefit. Guide says that since Liam's territory is suffering from debt, he called the pirates to fight with him. He tells Liam that if he defeats the pirates, he can get a lot of treasure to help his finances. Liam replies that he already took everything from the treasure island, but the guide tells him that it was just a small part of the total treasure. He asks him to defeat Goes to get all the treasure and great honor. He tells Liam that he planned everything for him, and that is why he made him reincarnate as a poor small-time noble instead of a rich one. He says that if he faces hardships and rises up in power, he will achieve glory. Liam's face lights up on hearing this, and he thanks the guide for thinking so much about him. With that, the guide leaves and time starts flowing again. Brian suddenly finishes telling Liam about the new weapon the 7th factory was developing, but Liam is not impressed by the long-ass name. Anyway, he declares that they will defeat Pirate Captain Goes and his fleet. The minister tells him that it is not the correct decision, but Liam reminds him that he is the one with all the decision-making power, and he has no choice but to obey his command. Soon, the preparations are done, and Brian is still freaking out that the moment their territory was on the path to be stable, they are going on war with pirates. Amagi tells him to calm down because they haven't lost yet, and Liam made the correct decision to fight the pirates. Brian reminds her that she herself analyzed that they have roughly 4% chance to win against the pirates. But Amagi replies that according to her data, Go's pirate crew wipes out entire planets after they surrender to him. She says that even a 4% chance to win is much better than surrendering. And Brian wishes that Liam had been born 100 years ago, because then he would have enough prep time to fight off the pirates. Well, Liam thinks that prep time is for sisses and real men fight with their lives on the line. He leads his fleet to fight the pirates, thanking them for giving him another chance to gain wealth and fame quickly. However, the guide is confident that Liam is going to lose, and he hopes that Goz turns him into one of his pets so that he suffers the most. He thinks it is all Liam's fault for trusting him despite all the things he went through in his past life. He eagerly waits for Liam's trust and gratitude to turn into hatred, so that he can feast on those intense negative emotions. Meanwhile, Goz gets news that Liam is heading towards him with his crew, and he gets really excited to completely destroy him. He orders a reward for anyone who can capture Liam alive, because he plans to turn him into a toy after all. On the other hand, the soldiers under Liam are not sure about the battle, but they have faith in him. Liam, however, gets bored quickly as 3 days pass and the action doesn't start. He asks why can't they just start shooting each other already, and the crew tells him that the war has already begun, but it is more strategic at this point. They tell him that they are already at a disadvantage because of the enemy numbers, and Liam can't understand how that is possible before the real combat starts. He says that they can't even see the enemy, and the ship's captain tells him that in space, seeing your enemy ship is equal to close combat. Liam doesn't care about the military talk because he just wants the fireworks to start. He says that they should charge ahead immediately, when the ship's radar warns him about enemies approaching. The crew quickly confirms that 500 enemy ships have appeared below their fleet, and Liam wonders why would the pirates send just 500 ships to attack them. The crew tell him that the ships appear to be soldiers who surrendered to the pirates, and to survive, they had to join them. They are just disposable pawns who are sent as a distraction to make Liam's fleet break formation. While Liam is pissed at Goz for using the lowest ranking members of his crew as fodder, as soon as they attack him, he destroys the enemy ships. However, this creates a small gap in the formation, and using this as his chance, Goz orders his fleet to charge ahead. In response, Liam's forces start retreating and Goz thinks that they are afraid of him. His fleet keeps chasing after them, but then suddenly, the ships in the front bump into some mines that are hidden with magic. The explosions damage the ships, but Goz doesn't care about that because he has too many people under him. He orders the front ships to clear out all the mines by colliding into them, and that pisses off Liam even more. Soon after that, both sides start firing at each other, but Goz's fleet uses barrier ships to protect themselves. Liam's side starts taking damage, and the army officers order to set up a barrier around their main ship as well. Liam asks what is happening, and the officers tell him that they are copying the enemy strategy to keep him safe. However, Liam is more concerned about their vanguard, who will be in front of the barrier and be completely exposed to enemy fire. The officer tells him that their priority is to keep him safe, and they will sacrifice any number of soldiers to do that. He tries to convince Liam that if they follow this strategy and draw out the battle, the Imperial Army may send reinforcements. However, Liam is not having any of that, and he declares that he is an evil lord who takes everything he wants by force, and once something belongs to him, he never lets it get away. He says that the ships and the soldiers fighting at the front lines all belong to him, and he will not let anyone waste his property without his permission. He orders that none of his soldiers will sacrifice themselves to save him or to buy time, because that is not how he does things. He declares that they will crush the pirates right away, and he will step into the battle to lead his men. Liam orders Amagi to get his mecha armor ready, and when the military officer tries to argue, Liam tells him that he is demoted and Amagi is the commander of this fleet instead. Amagi immediately starts working and calculates the best strategy to win. She orders all the ships to charge ahead, and the army officers are confused by this. However, Liam tells them to listen to his maid robot because she is the boss now, and with that, he goes to suit up for battle. Meanwhile, Amagi takes the wheel and tells all the ships to fly ahead at full speed and follow her lead. The army officers think that it is a mistake to let a bot lead a fleet because she is taking their main ship to the front line. But Amagi tells them that once Liam goes out into the battlefield, they don't need to keep this safe any longer. She says that they should rather use it to protect Liam since this is their strongest ship, and the top officials are amazed by her decision-making and loyalty. They support her decisions, and as the fleet moves ahead, Liam is also launched out into space. He then uses a short-range warp to teleport right in the middle of the pirate crew, and Goes wonders if Liam is trying to do a suicide attack to deal some damage by blowing up a ship. He orders everyone to take aim and shoot the ship that appears out of the warp gate, but to his shock, just Liam shows up in his mecha knight. He easily dodges the attacks from the pirate ships and begins taking them down, and just then, his fleet also reaches the battle zone. They start shooting at the pirate ships while deploying all their mecha knights, and Goes responds by dispatching his mecha knights too. However, they are no match for Liam, who easily cuts through their numbers and then summons his plasma cannons to attack the pirate ships. Thanks to his ruthless attacks, the pirates start breaking formation and Amagi sees an opening. She orders all the ships to rush through the center of the pirate formation, and in the meantime, the mecha knights keep fighting each other. Liam runs out of ammo on his plasma cannons, when suddenly, a high-ranking pirate knight attacks him. Liam decides to have fun with this new enemy who will offer a bit more resistance, and as he clashes swords with the pirate knight, he finds that he is quite skilled. The pirate knight is also impressed by his swordsmanship and asks which school he went to. Liam declares that he studied under the Way of the Flash, which is the best sword style in the world, but the pirate knight tells him that he has never heard of that name in all his years as an experienced swordsman. He calls the Way of the Flash a fake sword style, and Liam doesn't let that slide. He uses the ultimate move to attack the pirate knight, immediately killing him, but then he starts regretting it because if he kills all his enemies in one move, no one will remain to tell tales of how awesome the Way of the Flash is. Just then, more pirate knights surround him and start talking loudly about how he is really strong for a poor noble. Liam gets pissed because he doesn't like being called broke, and he unleashes his ultimate move again, killing them all. He keeps spamming the ultimate move and taking down dozens of enemy knights at once, but then his mecha armor notifies him that his right arm is damaged because he used it too much. Liam realizes that the armor can't keep up with his ultimate skill, when suddenly, more enemy knights arrive there to fight him. They keep attacking him from all sides, and soon, Liam gets cornered after losing his shields. His troops start being pushed back too, and Amagi calculates that they only have 1% chance of winning now. Despite knowing that, Liam keeps fighting with everything he has got. But that is not enough, and he soon finds himself about to get jumped by enemies. However, just then, reinforcements arrive and the enemy knights behind him are destroyed in one attack. Liam wonders who the hell joined the battle now, and as the explosions fade, he sees the rescued Princess Christina in her mecha knight. Although her rehab is not complete yet, she wants to repay the debt she owes Liam by helping him, and her entire elite unit is with her on this. Her unit reaches the battlefield soon after her, and Christina commands them to take down the enemies. They begin destroying enemy knights and even their ships, and Christina shows that underneath her beautiful face, she is a crazy bitch who gets off on crushing pirates. Liam is impressed by her skills, but he also doesn't want anyone to get more attention than him, so he pulls out his rocket punch, and instead of shooting it, he plugs it to his mecha and makes it his new arm. Once he is able to control it, he spots a part of a spaceship, and he uses his laser to immediately turn it into a huge sword. With his stronger arm and the giant sword, Liam launches a much more powerful version of his ultimate move towards the pirates, destroying their mecha knights as well as entire battleships. His single attack tears apart the formation of the pirates and causes them to shiver in fear, and Amagi calculates that their chances of victory went up to 83% with that. She orders her fleet to focus on one side of the enemy fleet, and in the meantime, Liam sheds off his single-use mega arm. He summons another sword and charges towards Goz's main ship, determined to capture him and make his name famous throughout the galaxy. Liam keeps tearing through the pirate knights easily, saying that it is really easy to get some pocket money by collecting their bounties. The female knight Christina turns into a total simp for him, and she swears to worship him every day with her body and soul. However, the moment some pirate knights attack her, her personality flips 180 degrees and she turns into a manic, bloodthirsty bitch. Liam isn't even paying her any attention because he wants to crush the pirates and get some sort of revenge against the bastards who made his previous life miserable. Just then, Amagi warns him that a fresh batch of enemy knights is approaching him from above, and Liam quickly flies towards them. The pirates shoot missiles at him, but Liam activates the barrier he learned while enduring Yasu's training and blocks everything. As he keeps on destroying the enemy fleet, the army officers under him feel inspired. They think that if Liam was not born as a noble, he would just be an ordinary teenager right now. He was born to a poor, debt-ridden noble family in the middle of nowhere and abandoned by his parents, but he fought his way up and made things better. The soldiers think that they were sent away from the Imperial Army because they raised their voice against the corruption there, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because they get to fight under such a capable ruler. They get emotional because they have never seen a noble risk their life on the front line to protect his people instead of hiding safely. Meanwhile, Liam reaches close to the main pirate ship, but as he tries to attack it, the support ships activate their shield and block his attacks. He can't even warp on the other side of the barrier because the pirates are using a jamming device. Liam is frustrated by this, but Amagi decides to help him out. She orders the entire fleet to move ahead at full speed and focus their firepower on the barriers to destroy them. The military officers relay her command to all the ships, and once they are in range, all ships fire at the barriers in front of Liam. The shields shatter, and before they can be regenerated, the flagship fires another round of energy beams, destroying the enemy barrier ships. This creates a gap in the shield, and Liam quickly rushes ahead to take advantage of it. Pirate Captain Goes tells his men to defend the barrier, but Liam's soldiers and Christina also join him in the fray. By the time the pirates manage to repair the shield, Liam has already passed through it, and he starts destroying the pirates on this side too. Goes is shocked to see someone overpowering his troops using an old Mecha Knight, but he gets furious on learning that the same Mecha Knight was involved in plundering his treasure planet. Just then, his assistant tells him that the rest of Liam's forces are also closing in on them, and their Mecha Knights are struggling against them now. He asks what to do, and Goes tells him that there is no point risking his life for pride, even though he doesn't want the world to underestimate him. He orders the assistant to evacuate the region immediately, and tells him to only alert the top officials in his fleet about it, leaving the rest here to act as decoys. Goes then commands all his ships to fire at the enemy knights without worrying about the stray bullets. He tells them to wipe out the enemies even if it means hitting their own allies. However, Liam dodges all the attacks and moves towards the main pirate ship. Goes orders his assistant to warp them out immediately, but before he can do that, Liam has reached his ship. Liam summons his plasma cannot and destroys the ship, and Goes decides to use the emergency escape pods. However, as he is running to the escape pods, the burning roof comes crashing down. Liam shoots down anyone who tries to escape as well, determined to show the pirates who they messed with. Just then, his troops arrive to back him up, and Liam tells them that they will enter the ship to finish the job and capture the leader. The captain tells him that it is risky because the pirates may blow up their own ship, but Liam thinks it is unlikely. To make sure that they can't do it, he shoots a bunch of rocket fists into the air and controls them to tear out the main wires of the ship, making it completely useless. With that, he gets out of the Mecha Knight and leads his soldiers into the pirate flagship. As they scout the ship, Liam notices some pirates hiding behind a door, and his soldiers immediately fire in that direction. They manage to take down the pirates who were wearing specialized combat suits that are not detected by sensors, and Liam is glad to hear this because it means that Goes has a lot of money, and that money is soon going to be his. He continues his journey inside the ship, but then his group runs into an enemy mercenary squad. The leader of the enemy squad tells him that they once used to serve under nobles, and he won't be able to stand against them. Liam casually walks up to them, and then the enemy soldiers are suddenly cut open without anyone even seeing Liam draw out his sword. His soldiers follow him in awe, and they quickly defeat all the enemies on their way to the control room. They take down all the main officers there, but Goes' assistant surrenders, saying that he was just being used by Goes. He tells Liam that he can lead him to the treasure room even though he can't open the lock, hoping that it is enough to bargain for his life. Liam is interested now, and he tells his soldiers not to shoot the assistant, who tries to kiss his ass and change sides. He says that he wants to serve under a great noble like Liam now, but the very next moment, his head is rolling on the ground. Meanwhile, the guide watches all this from a distance, and he is flabbergasted because he never thought that Liam stands a chance against the pirates. He grows concerned about the gratitude that Liam will feel towards him if he wins this battle, and that will definitely kill him. To prevent that, the guide decides to break his rules and interfere in the matters of the world directly, giving a special ability to Goes so that he can turn the tables. Meanwhile, Goes is on the run and terrified of Liam. He knows that there is no point in surrendering, and even at death's door, he doesn't want to give up his treasure in exchange for his life. Suddenly, the guide's power finds him and deep-throats him before he even has a chance to process what is happening. The guide appears behind him, telling him that this is his final chance to have his revenge against Liam and survive, and Goes gladly takes it. He feels power and courage increasing inside him, and then suddenly, he transforms into a monster. The guide is glad to see this, and he is sure that Liam won't even be able to scratch Goes' skin in this form. However, he is tired after sharing his power with the pirate captain, so he decides to rest and summons a door to his dimension. As he enters the door, a ball of light floats out without being noticed and takes the form of a golden dog. Meanwhile, Liam and his soldiers keep shooting down the pirates, but he suddenly stops because he spotted the golden dog before it vanished. The soldiers tell him that there are no living beings near them, and Liam is reminded of his pet dog from his past life, who was one of the only friends he had that never betrayed him. With the bittersweet feeling of nostalgia in his mind, he decides to follow the path where he saw the dog. He finds a golden cube dropped by Goes there, and immediately decides to add it to his treasure. As he is lecturing his men about why gold is the best, he once again sees the golden dog running away, and instinctively, he follows it. He soon comes to a dead end, but his gut tells him that something is wrong. He orders his men to shoot the wall, and it breaks down to reveal a hidden room full of antiques. While the soldiers get happy because the antiques look happy, Liam believes that they will mostly be fake. However, a sword catches his attention, and after taking a few practice swings, he decides to use it. Just then, he gets an emergency message from his soldiers, telling him that they have encountered a supernatural monster who is more bulletproof than James Gunn's Superman. Goes keeps beating the soldiers while enduring gunfire and even rocket launchers, and he tells them to bring Liam to him so that he can finish him with his own hands. The soldiers tell Liam to get away from the ship instantly, but Goes decides to torture them until they take him to the boy. However, Liam arrives there just then and attacks Goes from behind. His attacks don't have any effect on the monsterified pirate captain, and even Liam acknowledges that Goes is harder than him at 6 in the morning. However, as he draws the sword he just took from the treasure room, Liam is able to slash Goes' hand in one clean strike. Goes calls him a thief for taking his sword, but Liam tells him that everything belongs to him now. He decides to avenge his fallen soldiers and chops off the second arm of Goes too. However, using the power of the guide, Goes immediately regenerates his arms into tentacles. He attacks Liam with them, but they are cut down easily as well, and Liam is really impressed with his new sword. As the soldiers gather around Liam to protect him, Goes realizes that he is his main enemy, and he once again regenerates his arm to attack him. That is not barely enough to reach Liam, who dodges the attack and mutilates Goes once again. The pirate captain can't believe his eyes, and he is finally overcome with fear. He begs Liam to spare his life, promising to give him all his treasure, but Liam coldly tells him that he won't do it. He steps on Goes, telling him that he already owns all his treasure, and the only thing he can do now is become his achievement. Liam declares that he will hand him over to the Imperial Army to cash in the bounty, and Goes panics. He promises to give Liam his hidden treasure that is worth more than his bounty, and Liam tells him to say the same thing to the Imperial Army because they will be more motivated to interrogate him. Goes snaps at this and launches one last-ditch attack, but once again, Liam has no problem evading it and then chopping off his leg to leave him immobile on the ground. Goes pisses his pants now and begs for his life, but Liam is planning to turn him in alive anyway. However, his army captain tells him that taking Goes alive will be risky because he has already killed too many of their men. Liam says that he will get a higher bounty if he captures the pirate captain alive, but the captain informs him that for vicious criminals like Goes, the bounty is the same even if they are killed in action. Well, that is good news for Liam, who decides to end Goes' life. Liam soon returns to his ship, still not satisfied because he was expecting a more intense fight. He leaves the rest to the general and then decides to celebrate his victory with a Magi. Soon after that, Liam summons the merchant Thomas to learn about the value of the treasure he got from Goes and his fleet. Thomas gives him an estimate and Liam is impressed by the amount he will get. Amagi says that they will be able to pay back a big chunk of their debt with this amount, and Liam is dumbfounded, wondering how is the debt on his territory bigger than the combined student debt in America. Thomas then tells him that the developer of the advanced medical devices he used to treat the girls held as prisoners by the pirates is asking for the clinical trial data to improve the device. Liam tells him that he is lucky because the person who can give him the best answer is here. Just then, Christina arrives there and kneels before Liam. She informs him that she has completed her rehab and has been discharged from the hospital. She begins glazing him, saying that he not only freed her from hell, but also allowed her to live as a dignified human once again. But Liam is not interested in her yapping. Instead, he asks her to tell him and the merchant about the results of the treatment. Christina immediately agrees to do that and starts stripping, telling Liam to look at her body that has been completely restored to its normal glory. Liam is not interested and tells her to show it to Thomas instead, and even the old merchant is not interested in a hoe like her and says that she should show it to the device's developer. Just then, Niaz enters the throne room to sell Liam some more warships, and as she sees Christina in her undies, she begins panicking that someone else is trying to seduce Liam before her. She immediately rushes ahead, taking off her clothes and clings to Liam, saying that she knows his preferences better than anyone else. He just tells her to get lost, and Christina immediately draws her sword and points it at Niaz, telling her to listen to Liam if she values her life. As the two girls bicker, Liam hears an unfamiliar voice calling out to him, and he doesn't want to deal with another person already. He still looks ahead to see that Eulizia, Nia's rival from the third weapon factory, has come to see him. She was the one who sold the advanced mecha knights that Christina and her girl gang used, and she is here to sell more mechas to Liam if he liked their performance. Niaz calls the blonde a gold digger for coming to such a remote region for making sales, and Liam calls her a lying-ass hypocrite. Eulizia doesn't even pay her any attention and shows some 2,000-meter-long warships to Liam that are quite popular among nobles. He is immediately interested in them and tells Amagi that they should buy one, but she tells him that he needs permission from the royal family to buy such a big warship. Niaz tells him that he can buy smaller warships from her factory instead, but then Christina tells her to get away. At the same moment, Brian arrives there, and he gets emotional on seeing Liam being surrounded by real women. Liam tells him to cut the crap and tell him what he is here for. Brian immediately tells him that because of his achievement of defeating the Go's pirate crew, he has been awarded a Medal of Honor by the royal family, and he has been called to the Imperial capital planet for that. Liam soon visits the palace in the capital, and a servant asks him to wait in the guest room because some people want to meet him. Liam is curious about who wants to meet him here, but when his parents come to see him, he doesn't even recognize them. His dad keeps on trying to act like it should be normal for Liam to remember his face when he ditched him 40 years ago, and only after Amagi remarks that the man in front of him is his dad, Liam begins remembering him. Amagi also mentions that his mother and his grandparents are also here, and he is surprised because they look too young. He starts throwing shade at them for never doing their job as parents and coming to him as soon as he became famous and successful. His mom laughs it off and then points at Amagi, saying that he still seems to have the doll they gifted him when he was young. Liam doesn't like her tone, and then the tells him that it is not nice that he brought a doll to the royal palace. Even his grandparents tell him that they are disappointed that he is carrying a doll with him even though he is a grown man. They tell him to throw it away, and Amagi decides to wait in another room. However, Liam orders her to stay with him. He turns towards the window and coldly asks his parents what they want. They tell him that they have heard about him getting a lot of money lately, so they want him to share some with them. They tell him to increase their allowance so that they can live a luxurious life befitting of nobles, and then start buttering up Liam so that he will agree to their demands. However, Liam just asks Amagi to show his guests the exit, and his parents flip out, calling him an ungrateful child. They tell him that he has to give them more money because they have already brought some expensive things, and then Liam angrily draws his sword. He points it at his dad, telling him that the territory as well as the money belongs only to him, and he will not share it with anyone. He tells them to leave, and they do so while complaining that Liam wasn't raised right. After they leave, Liam asks Amagi if he has to pay his parents' debts, and she tells him that he is not legally bound to do so, but the debt collectors will eventually come to him. She suggests that he increase their allowance, but put the condition that he will have nothing to do with them in the future, because they might create a commotion otherwise, which won't be good for his reputation. Liam decides to pay some of their debt to avoid any ugly situation, and he tells Amagi that she is his only family. Meanwhile, the guide had been watching all of this, and he decides to use Liam's family to hurt him this time. On the other hand, Liam's parents receive a message that he will increase their allowance, but then they will have nothing to do with each other. His grandparents begin blaming them for not raising their child well, and Liam's dad says that they didn't raise him well either. While they are fighting, the guide suddenly uses his power on them, hoping to steal everything from Liam. Under his influence, they stop fighting and decide to apply for changing the head of the Banfield family immediately. They say that once they have the territory and money in their name, they will create another heir to replace Liam, who will be assassinated because he is no longer useful to them. The guide is confident that this method will surely work, but he is unaware that the golden dog that has guided Liam to success before is still at work, and he has learnt about the plan. This time, he leads Amagi to the room, and as she approaches the door, she finds that Liam's parents and grandparents are inside. She listens in on their conversation and finds that they plan to kick him from the position of the family head, using the excuse that he keeps an AI robot made by his side. A couple days later, Liam is awarded the Medal of Honor in an elaborate ceremony, but Amagi watches it from her room. Soon after that, Liam's parents head to the Prime Minister to complain because their official request to change the family head was declined. The Prime Minister tells them that there is no need to kick Liam from his position because he has done a good job governing his territory for the past 40 years, and there were no technical issues with his succession as well. Liam's dad complains that he is not fit to be a noble because he brought an AI robot to the capital. However, the minister sees no problem with that. He says that Liam is an outstanding noble because of his achievements, and it is not a crime to keep an AI robot by his side. Liam's dad tries fear-mongering as his last retort, but the minister clearly tells him that Liam is an asset to the empire who has shown great potential. He has developed his territory and paid his taxes, unlike his parents and grandparents, who were just lazy bums. The minister then tells Liam's dad that he should not even think of trying to harm his son, because the royal family has high hopes from him, and if something happens to him, it will be dealt with strictly. The minister dismisses them with a threat, still unable to understand how a talented man like Liam could be born from such incompetent DNA. Once they leave, the minister summons Amagi, asking if she is satisfied with how things played out. She thanks him for listening to her request, and the minister tells her that it was not a big deal, especially considering the fact that she offered to pay off all their overdue taxes with the pirate treasure they recently seized. Amagi also asks for permission to buy a 2,000-meter-long warship, and the minister has no problem in doing that. He then complains that AI is really stupid, because Amagi came to him with this offer, even though she should know that Liam is really a highly valuable asset for the imperial family, and they wouldn't have removed him from his position anyway. Amagi thanks him anyway, and then returns to the guest house to care for Liam, who has been busy attending parties lately. While he was not really able to enjoy himself much, he is still excited because they were new and interesting in ways he could not expect. Amagi is pleased to hear that, and she tells Liam that he will soon turn 50 and become an adult officially. She says that she has served him for 40 years, but now it is time for them to separate. Liam thinks that she is just asking for a break, and he immediately approves, but Amagi tells him that she just wants him to stop keeping her by his side. Liam is surprised by that suggestion, and Amagi says that his reputation will be harmed if he keeps an AI robot with him, and he is better off keeping a human woman by his side. Liam tells her to stop joking, but she tells him that she is not. She reminds him that he told her 3 rules when he made her his servant. The first rule was that she is not supposed to harm him intentionally or ignore anything that can harm him, and Amagi thinks that now her presence has become Liam's weakness that his enemies can exploit. Liam refuses to accept her logic and orders her to stay with him because according to the second rule, she has to listen to everything he says. Amagi reminds him that the second rule is automatically cancelled if it violates the first rule. She thanks Liam for everything but insists that she cannot put him in danger anymore. He can't take that and reminds her that there is the third law that asks her to protect herself when it doesn't violate the first 2 laws. Amagi says that she is completely safe, but Liam asks her if she is protecting her feelings right now. He orders her to speak the truth, and Amagi starts crying as she says that when she was processing the thought of leaving him, her processor overheated and she couldn't think straight. Liam is now convinced that she doesn't want to leave him, and he declares that if she leaves him, he will be drunk all the time and waste his money and connections, forcing his territory to be poor again. He says that he will stop training and become so weak that anyone can kill him, and then asks Amagi if she wants to put him in danger by leaving him. Amagi replies that she can't do that because it violates the first rule, and Liam tells her that this means she can't leave him. He then suddenly hugs, saying that she shouldn't abandon him of all people, and Amagi promises to stay by his side as long as she can. If you liked this video, please consider subscribing and watch the video on your screen next.